What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away. We feel big.
The power's been out. We had a storm roll through. It just now came back on.
Never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves. We won't let the world burn away. Burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake it through the back of the pack. Kill it anyway. To play. Haters face the world's mistakes. Wake it through the back of the pack. Kill it anyway. And we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake it through the back of the pack. Kill it anyway. To play. Haters face the world's mistakes. Wake it through the back of the pack. Kill it anyway.
What's up, everybody? The power's back on, but I am probably not as prepared as I should be for the show. But I am here, so at least it's back on. We had a storm roll through. I swear, I think lightning hit today, probably like 100 feet away from me. Way too fucking close for it even made like the hairs on my arms and shit stand up. Like it was bad, but I survived.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will
AC
Burr.
died? Oh,
I
shit.
think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome everybody. I'm Will Burt. Oh shit, I forgot to turn my camera on. Hold on just a second. I feel like Burt over here. Oh, barefoot Burt. Oh, 4 titties hit different, somebody said. Well, you'll have that on these big jobs. Those 04 titties. Let's see.
I was like a ninja.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Will Bird. This is Cold Break Confession. Thank you for joining us. Just a $900 sudden expense, no biggie. Yeah, but it always seems like it comes at the same time, right? The last time we had a central heating air go out, we went out and bought one of those like units that you like hook the hose to the window, and used it for like, I don't know, 3 days. Then I returned it. So, but yeah, it does suck, and it always seems to happen at the worst fucking time that it possibly could, or at least that's my experience. That's the bird curse. I've had a bad decade going so far, so I'm trying not to break that streak, I guess. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm Will Bird. This is Cold Break Professional. If you didn't hear yesterday or you weren't here yesterday or whatever, I did get my disability approved, so that's good. I still don't have more details, but there you go. When I even went and checked the website today. I was like, it better still fucking be there. What if it was all like a dream or some shit? Like I've checked the website probably 100 times just to make sure it still says it, and it does. So we're good for now. The big story is Trump sent a letter to Epstein for his birthday, allegedly. Trump is freaking out. So Trump tweets out, the Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch personally were warned directly by President Donald J. Trump. By the way, this is his own Twitter page, his own True Social page. I don't know why he would say we're warned directly by President Donald J. Trump. Why didn't you just say me? Why are we in the third person here? But whatever. We're warned directly by, and it's not even that incriminating. I just think right now he doesn't want any more ties to Epstein, but we're going to read it. Don't worry. We're warned directly by President Donald J. Trump. So Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News and the Wall Street Journal and a bunch of other agencies, Trump apparently called him and said, no, do not print this, do not. They were warned by President Donald J. Trump that the supposed letter they printed by President Trump to Epstein was a, all caps, fake. And if they print it, they will be sued. Mr. Murdoch, this is why we shouldn't have a president suing newspapers. I'm going to read you the article in a minute, and it says exactly what it needs to say. Allegedly, this letter came from Trump to Epstein for his 50th birthday. Trump denies writing this letter. That's all they have to put in. You know what I'm saying? That's all they had to fucking put in there. But Trump's like, I told him it was fake. I'm going to sue him. This is why we shouldn't. And even in his threat, he tells them he's going to sue them like he sued everybody else. So it's a veiled threat saying, look at these other places that had to settle with me, had to print retractions, had to take down the story. I'm going to sue you just like I sued them. Was a fake, and if they print it, they will be sued. Mr. Murdoch stated that he would take care of it, but obviously did not have the power to do so. Should we have a president that calls up the head of news media and says, don't do this, and then the head says, I'll take care of it? Like, I think this message, to me, makes him look worse than the fucking letter. He said, I will take care of it. Obviously, he did not have the power to do so. The editor of the Wall Street Journal, Emma Tucker, was told directly by Carolyn Levitt and by President Trump that the letter was a fake. But Emma Tucker didn't want to hear that. Instead, they are going with a false, malicious, and defamatory story anyway. Now, again, they put in the story that President Trump denies this, and they can't say for sure it's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, allegedly this letter exists. It was printed way before Epstein was even arrested the first time, like in the early 2000s. Trump denies it. The White House denies it. Like, what else are they supposed to do? President Trump will be suing the Wall Street Journal, News Corp, and Mr. Murdoch shortly. The press has to learn to be truthful and not rely on sources that probably don't even exist. By the way, the source for this is Ghislaine Maxwell gathered report cards and statements from teachers and letters from friends for Epstein's 50th birthday, had them printed up real nice and in a leather-bound book. Had literally had a bookbinder take all these pages and put them in a book for him for his 50th birthday. I think it's a really cool gift. Like, reach out to everybody's friends. It had report cards from, like, grade school. It had, like, teachers wrote letters about him. Like, that's a cool, regardless of Epstein, he's a monster, piece of shit. But that's a cool gift. That's the source for this, by the way. So it's not sources that don't exist. It's literally this book that was presented to Epstein on his birthday with some of his closest friends. President Trump has already beaten George Stephanopoulos and ABC, 60 Minutes CBS, and others, and looks forward to suing and holding accountable the once great Wall Street Journal. It has truly turned out to be a disgusting and filthy rag, and writing defamatory lies like this shows their desperation to remain relevant. If there were any truth at all on the Epstein hoax as it pertains to President Trump, this information would have been revealed by Comey, Brennan, Crooked Hillary, and other radical left lunatics years ago. It certainly would have not sat in a file waiting for Trump to have won 3 elections. By the way, 3 elections again because the election was stolen. That's what he wants people concentrated on, not Epstein. This is yet another example of fake news. Then he follows that up with another tweet. I guess I could show you. I got his stuff here. I'll have to sign in again. I had a big update and it signed me out of everything. Hold on. Not create account. Sign in. Sign in. Okay, move this back. Did you guys know that Trump stole the fucking, was it the World Cup? Stole the fucking soccer trophy? You know the soccer match they just had where Trump was there and they like had an extra long halftime because he was there, and then they let him present the trophy. He was just supposed to present the trophy like normal world leaders and then leave the stage. They asked him to leave the stage multiple times. He refused. Then he took the trophy, the actual trophy, took the trophy that the winning team was supposed to get, and it's at the White House. And they had to give the team a backup trophy. He's always got to be in the spot. He thinks everything's about him. Like the soccer cup championship is about Trump. And you can go back and look at every world leader that presents like the cup to these, the World Cup, I guess what it's called. The leader presents it. There's like a photo op, they wave or whatever. Then the leader leaves and then the team can celebrate. When you watch Trump do it, he's just standing there for so long. The team doesn't know, like, should we celebrate now or should we wait? Or is he going to make a speech? He just won't leave. And then Trump steals the trophy and then claims that they gave it to him. Why would they give... Could you imagine them giving like the National Football Championship trophy to fucking the president of Zimbabwe or some shit? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, the team that won was Chelsea. He was supposed to hand off the trophy and then leave, basically. But he didn't. He was actually told, like, oh, you good? You can go now. You all right? Like, not told, like, leave the stage, but like, hey, your job's done. We're good. We got it. And he just stood there the whole time. One of the players said, I knew he was going to be here, but I didn't know he was going to be on the stand when we lifted the trophy, so I was just a bit confused. It seemed like he hung around too long. The celebration continued as planned, with Chelsea hoisting their trophy and Trump smiling away at the center of it all. Well, they hoisted a trophy. It turns out that Trump later said the original trophy is sitting in the Oval Office and that it was gifted to him by FIFA, soccer's governing body, and the organizers of the Club World Cup tournament. The original started making its rounds to promote the tournament, only to find itself not actually making its way to the tournament. The trophy, created by Tiffany & Co., and was newly created for the expanded tournament. It's 24-karat gold-plated homage to world soccer with the names of all member countries, a world map, 13 languages, and a collage of soccer moments engraved on it, inspired by the Voyager Golden Record, which was created to show aliens the whole of humanity. You know that the gold record they sent out into space years ago? The trophy does the same, except for soccer or football, depending on where you are. The trophy was shown to Trump in the Oval Office and immediately found its permanent place there. He just wouldn't let it leave. It has been hidden. It hasn't been hidden away either. It made an appearance when the Juventus squad of Italy made a visit to the president. It was also prominently featured when Donald Trump presented his ex-BFF Elon Musk with a key to the city government Social Security records. The trophy itself didn't end up in the hands of the victors. Instead, they received a replica. And it's that replica that they took back to England. The Trump administration claims...
Just gifted 1 sub.
Thank you for the gifted sub. The Trump administration claims the Club World Cup trophy was a gift from FIFA, one that Trump could keep, quote, forever. So it's not even for the White House. It's for him, and he's taking it home. Like, what the fuck, dude? So the World Cup, which is like not the Club World Cup, but just the FIFA World Cup, teams always get a replica of that trophy. The main one stays at FIFA, and they engrave the names on them or whatever. But, like, this is weird. The trophy wasn't the only memento that Donald Trump snagged. Pictures also caught Trump pocketing a medal that the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, showed to him. Whether it was meant to be a gift or not will remain to be seen, but we know this. Trump really wants as many shiny, bright objects as he can get. He's a toddler. Ooh, shiny. Anyways, so we were talking about the letter. Trump fires back after the first one and says, this is the next. He's done 3. So it says, based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. This scam perpetuated by the Democrats should end right now. This doesn't fix it, right? Grand jury testimony is awesome, but just release all the files. Thousands of pages. We'll dig through them in a day and a half. It'll be fine. So that was the second one, and then he's got a third one here. Hold on. Rescission Act passed by the Senate. Trump wins again, blah, blah, blah. Trump. The most secure border in history, 0 releases for the second consecutive month. Releases? Stacking up wins, and then we get this. The Wall Street Journal printed a fake letter supposedly to Epstein. These are not my words, not the way I talk. Also, I don't draw pictures. I told Rupert Murdoch it was a scam, that he shouldn't print this fake story, but he did, and now I'm going to sue his ass off. This is the president of the United States of America. Gold member. Gold is gold. Imagine the president of the United States of America saying, this guy over here printed a story about me and I'm going to sue his fucking ass off. And that of his third-rate newspaper. Thank you for your attention to this matter. DJT, signing off. I love how he says he doesn't want to release the Epstein files because he doesn't want to smear anybody's name or make them feel bad or talk shit about it. That's all he does. All day long, every day is talk shit about people. but not the Epstein files. No, no, no. I could fuck somebody's life up or ruin them, or, you know, it might not be true. That's all you do all day anyways. And then, before we get to the actual article, we'll get to this, to more to the point. Trump claims he doesn't draw pictures. You see that right here, right? Also, it's not my words. These are not my words, not the way I talk. Also, I don't draw pictures. That could be a big deal. Like if he's never known to draw a picture, this letter has a picture of a naked woman's body, and it's just like an outline with like a marker, and it's got tits, and then down where the pubic hair is, that's where his signature is, Donald, where the pubic hair should be. So it's like a head, a shoulder, and tits, then the topped out part of the letter, and then he puts Donald down where the pubic hair should be. So it would be a big deal, like if maybe he doesn't draw pictures at all. Oh, you mean he draws a picture every year and auctions it off? That'd be weird. It would be a kind of a funny birthday card if the person you were talking to was just like, I don't know, an old horny, guy or something. Not when he's fucking kids.
Well, that was quick. Donald Trump's defense about the letter that he allegedly wrote to Jeffrey Epstein has already blown up in his face, with people proving him wrong instantly. Let me show you what happened. Denying the Wall Street Journal story, Donald Trump said, "I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures."
I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women, he said. It's not my language. It's not my words.
Of women, it is not my language. It is not my words. And then he said, I'm going to sue the Wall Street Journal just like I sued everyone else. And he's since made a post saying that he's going to do just that. But immediately after the story published, people rushed to the internet to prove Donald Trump wrong. And it turns out Trump is actually an avid doodler.
What? He draws heavy marker doodles all the time and then signs them underneath? What? I thought he said he doesn't draw pictures at all.
Twitter user said, I know this doesn't matter, but a lady in Ohio solicited doodles from celebrities to auction for charity. And in 2004, she said that Trump was always literally the first to send in his drawings. And you could see a Donald Trump.
So that's like New York or a city or something. He was literally the first to always submit his drawings for this auction. City skyline drawing with a bidding, with bidding at 205. Trump drawing netted $275.
Drawing with his signature right here. And here's another.
God damn it. So every fucking year he does this.
And here's a whole bunch more.
God damn it, Trump. I've never drawn a picture. Everybody knows that about me. Google Trump doodle. And there's just like thousands of pictures he's drawn and signed.
Andrew Bates notes that in Donald Trump's 2008 book, Never Give Up, he wrote, each year I donate an autographed doodle. And there is the doodle in his book right here.
It's even in his book that he wrote about himself.
And honestly, I could do this like all day. Here's another post. It says, notably, this Donald Trump heavy marker drawn doodle, which sold at auction in 2019, is dated 2004. Epstein's 50th birthday was in 2003.
So literally around the same time, he was constantly drawing doodles and signing them. This was from 2004. The one allegedly he sent to Epstein was 2003.
So Trump, proceed with that lawsuit. I think the discovery is going to be very interesting. Spread the word, follow our account, and add the Midas Touch podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for more.
All right, so listen, I want you to hold back any bias you might have against Trump. We all know he probably fucks kids. Hold back the bias, okay? I'm just going to read the article. And you tell me if this is unfair to him. Now, it is 4 pages here, but I'll be quick, okay? You tell me if this is unfair to Donald Trump. It was Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday, and Ghislaine Maxwell was preparing a special gift to mark the occasion. She turned to Epstein's family and friends. One of them was Donald Trump. Maxwell collected letters from Trump and dozens of Epstein's other associates for a 2003 birthday album, according to documents reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Pages from the leather-bound album, assembled before Epstein was first arrested in 2006, are among the documents examined by Justice Department officials who investigated Epstein and Maxwell years ago. According to people who have reviewed the pages, it is unclear if any of the pages are part of the Trump administration's recent review. The president's past relationship with Epstein is a sensitive moment. The Justice Department documents, the so-called Epstein files, and who or what is in them are at the center of a storm consuming the Trump administration currently. On Wednesday, after angry comments about how the files are a hoax created by Democrats, President Trump lashed out at his own supporters for refusing to let the matter go. The letter bearing Trump's name, which was reviewed by the Journal, so they reviewed it, is bawdy, B-A-W-D-Y, bawdy. Like others in the album, it contains several lines of typewritten text framed by an outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker. A pair of small arcs denotes the woman's breast, and the future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking where her pubic hair would be. The letter concludes, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. In an interview with the Journal on Tuesday evening, Trump denied writing the letter or drawing the picture. "This is not me. This is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story," he said. By the way, I could 1,000% see him, like, there's no telling how many fucking birthday letters and shit he sends out, how many people he knows. I could 1,000% see him forgetting that he did this. Like, maybe he knows that he wished Epstein a happy birthday every year, but the actual drawing and the text over there or whatever. But to go out and say they lied, it's a fake story, I'm going to sue them like I sued everybody, that's way too far, right? There was another person, Dershowitz or someone in here is like, I don't know. I don't remember the text I wrote. If I wrote, I have no idea. Probably. Anyways. The Donald below her waist, mimicking where her pubic hair would be. The letter concludes, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret," which is creepy as fuck, right? In an interview with the Journal on Tuesday evening, Trump denied writing the letter or drawing the picture. "That is not me. That is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story," he said. "I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women. It's not my language. It's not my words," which is he fucking Yoda? Why does he speak like that? He told the Journal he was preparing to file a lawsuit if it published an article. Quote, "I'm going to sue the Wall Street Journal just like I sued everyone else." And I think that's the problem. That's a direct quote from him. "I'm going to sue the Wall Street Journal because companies have been folding in front of him because they want mergers, or they don't want to spend too much money, or blah, blah. They don't want to litigate it for years, or they don't want to be on the president's wrong side. There should be no like everyone else. You're the fucking president. Denounce it, deny it, whatever, move the fuck on. But to use your position to sue people is fucking insane." No Epstein files there are. That's right. Allegations that Epstein... Now, again, you tell me if this is unfair to Donald. Allegations that Epstein had been sexually abusing girls became public in 2006, and he was arrested that year. Epstein died in 2019 in jail after he was arrested a second time and charged with sex trafficking conspiracy. Justice Department officials didn't respond to requests for comment or address questions about whether the Trump page and other pages of the birthday album were part of the agent's recent documents review. The FBI declined to comment. The existence of the album and the contents of the birthday letters haven't previously been reported. The album had poems, photos, and greetings from business people, academics, Epstein's former girlfriends, and childhood pals. According to the documents reviewed by the Journal and people familiar with them. Among those who submitted letters were billionaire Leslie Wexner. Now, Leslie Wexner has his own claims about one of the whistleblowers in like 96 came out and said Epstein had this farm and property, and Leslie Wexner had one adjacent, and me and my sister were kept there against our will with like security guards and shit. Like a real creepy story. But anyways, that's not in the article. Leslie Wexner and attorney Alan Dershowitz. The album also contained a letter from now deceased Harvard economist, one of Epstein's report cards from Mark Twain Jr. High School in Brooklyn, and a note from a former assistant that included that included an acrostic with Epstein's name. Jeffrey, oh Jeffrey, everyone loves you. Fun in the sun, fun just for fun. Remember, don't forget me soon. Epstein, you rock. You are the best. Epstein was Wexner's money manager at the time. The longtime leader of Victoria's Secret wrote a short message that said, I wanted to get you what you want, so here it is. After this text was a line drawing of what appeared to be women's breasts. So I wanted to get you what you want, so he drew a set of titties. Wexner declined to comment through a spokesman. Wexner's spokesman previously told the Journal that the retail mogul severed all ties with Epstein in 2007 and never spoke to him again. Dershowitz's letter included a mock-up of a, quote, Vanity Unfair. Instead of Vanity Fair, it was Vanity Unfair magazine cover. With mock headlines such as, who was Jack the Ripper? Was it Jeffrey Epstein? He joked that he had convinced the magazine to change the focus of an article from Epstein to Bill Clinton. Now, again, I think this is kind of telling. The lawyer that represented him was like, oh, here's a fake magazine cover where they're trying to say, like, you're horrible like Jack the Ripper. But I convinced them to make it about Bill Clinton instead of about you. So it tells me that the lawyer is making a little joke like, I interfere for you. Like, I get in the way when all these people come after you. But whatever. Dershowitz, who represented Epstein after his first arrest, said, it's been a long time and I don't recall the content of what I may have written. And that would have been a perfect answer for Trump as well, but whatever. Yeah, Putin steals as well. He stole that Super Bowl ring, and then when the guy stepped to get it back, like 5 security guards stepped in front of him. They're like, no, he just took it. The book was put together by a New York City bookbinder, Herbert Whites, according to people who were involved in the process. Whites, who died in 2020, listed Epstein as a client on his website in 2003. It isn't clear how the letter with Trump's signature was prepared. Inside the outline of a naked woman was typewritten note styled as an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein written in the third person. So this is the entire text of his thing, okay? Donald. Yes. I'm sorry. It starts with voiceover. Voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything, the note began. Donald. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. So they're talking about there's something more to life than being a super rich person that has everything. That's what the voiceover says. It's written almost like a screenplay, right? A voiceover comes on and says, there's something more to life than having everything. Donald's part is, yes, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey. Nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey. Yes, we do, come to think of it. So that's also damning, right? So they're saying there's more to life than just money and being a fucking billionaire. They know this secret, but they're not telling anybody. Both of them know it. And then Donald says, hey, we have a lot in common, don't we, Jeffrey? And then Jeffrey says, yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald. Enigmas never aged. Never age. Have you noticed that? So Donald says, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey replies, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. So they're both saying they're both enigmas. Trump, a pal like a friend. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. So again, they're both billionaires or very wealthy. They're saying, we didn't know it, but there's actually more to life than owning all the money in the world. Oh yeah, and we have some stuff in common, don't we? Yes, we're enigmas. No one knows anything. We're like enigmas, right? They don't know about us. Yes, we are. And may every day be another wonderful secret. Very creepy text. Very fucking weird. No wonder he doesn't want this letter out there. All right. On to the story. That was the end of the written part. Here's the rest of the story. When he turned 50, Epstein was already wealthy from managing Wexner's fortune and was socializing with Trump, Clinton, and other powerful people at his Manhattan townhouse, Palm Beach, Florida, home, and private Caribbean island. A spokesperson for Clinton referred to a 2019 statement that former President Clinton had cut off ties more than a decade before Epstein's second arrest and didn't know about Epstein's alleged crimes. Epstein and Trump spent time together in the 1990s and early 2000s and were photographed at social events, including with Maxwell and Melania Trump. A 1992 tape from the NBC archive shows Trump partying with Epstein at his Mar-a-Lago estate. Trump is seen pulling a woman towards him and patting her behind. Trump, along with others, including Clinton, also appeared several times on the flight logs for Epstein's private jet. By the way, I think they're being as fair as possible. Every time they say Trump did something, they're like, Clinton did it too in this article, right? A 2002 New York Magazine profile of Epstein quoted Trump as saying, "I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do. And many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life." Again, creepy as fuck. Both men said they subsequently had a falling out. Trump has said their friendship ended before Jeffrey Epstein pleaded guilty to procuring a minor for prostitution in 2008, served time in a Florida jail, and registered as a sex offender. When Epstein was arrested in 2019, Trump said he hadn't talked to him for 15 years. "I knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him," Trump said in the Oval Office at the time. "I was not a fan of his, that I can tell you." Trump's spokeswoman told the Journal in 2023 that Trump had banned Epstein from his Mar-a-Lago club at some point in the past without elaborating. This is where that story comes from, like, Epstein was hitting on a girl and Trump came in like Superman and said, "Don't be hitting on underage girls. You're out of here, guy." That didn't happen. There's no documentation of that whatsoever, except after Epstein was arrested and it made Trump look bad and Trump was in, suddenly they're like, oh, he kicked him out of his club. That was all bullshit. Maxwell, a British socialite, was convicted in 2021 of helping Epstein sex traffic and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Maxwell didn't respond to a letter requesting an interview sent to her in prison. Arthur Adelia, an attorney representing Maxwell in her appeal, said at this point she is focused on her case before the Supreme Court of the United States. Ghislaine Maxwell is bringing a case against the Supreme Court of the United States because in that first case against Epstein, where he pled guilty for the solicitation, even though it was of a minor, it was just like prostitution solicitation, for a non-prosecution agreement, it said Jeffrey Epstein and co-conspirators. She's saying, hey, we had a non-prosecution agreement with the United States and I was one of the co-conspirators. And now you're violating that. So she's trying to get that to the Supreme Court, by the way. And she has said that she's ready to speak to Congress if Congress will have her. The Democrats are trying to get her there. The Republicans are resisting. There was a rumor that she would only speak to Congress if there's a plea deal. Her attorney has denied that. We're going to the Supreme Court to talk about the case. And maybe, changing her sentence. The stuff for Congress is just to do it for Congress. It has nothing to do with a plea deal. Back to the article. Epstein's associations with Trump and many powerful people have been well documented. There remain questions about what the FBI possesses about Epstein and his well-connected friends. In 2019, the FBI confiscated evidence from Epstein properties in the U.S. Virgin Islands and New York. Earlier Tuesday, after the Journal sought comment from the president about the letter, Trump told reporters at the White House that he believes some Epstein files were made up by former President Barack Obama and Joe Biden. I'm sorry. Oh, and Joe Biden and former FBI Director James Comey. He said that releasing more Epstein files would be up to Attorney General Pam Bondi. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release, Trump said. Allegations that bureaucrats cover up Epstein's connections with participants in his trafficking scheme were fanned by people now in top roles in the Trump administration, including Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. In June 2024, Trump was asked in a Fox News interview whether he would release the Epstein case files. The Republican presidential candidate initially responded, "Yeah, I would," but also expressed some reservations. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because it's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world, but I think I would. Soon after she was confirmed as Attorney General, Bondi said she was preparing to release the new Epstein files. In late February, Bondi announced the release of Phase 1 of the documents, but the material contained no new revelations, drawing criticism from right-wing influencers. Bondi initially blamed the FBI's New York office for withholding information and promised to release the remaining documents after redacting the victims' names. Patel also said there would be no cover-ups, no missing documents, and no stone left unturned. They tasked hundreds of FBI employees to review the materials and prepare them for release. The issue took on a new life in June when Elon Musk, amid a public feud with Trump, alleged that the FBI was withholding documents from the Epstein case because Trump was in the files. Quote, "The truth will come out," Musk wrote on X on June 5th. He later deleted the message and said he regretted some of his comments, not specific about which ones. On July 7th, the Justice Department backtracked on Bondi's pledge to release more Epstein files. The Justice Department said that after an exhaustive review, it had found no incriminating client list or additional documents that warrant public disclosure. Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee demanded this week that Republican Chairman Jim Jordan hold hearings on Trump administration's handling of the Epstein files and, if necessary, subpoena Bondi, Patel, and Bongino. At a cabinet meeting on July 8th, Trump criticized a reporter for asking about Epstein. Quote, "Are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time?" End quote. That same day, Musk wrote on X, "How can people be expected to have faith in Trump if he won't release the Epstein files?" That's the whole article. And literally, they said multiple times, this appears to be Trump. This appears to be from Trump. This appears to be drawn by Trump. This appears to be done by Trump. There's a drawing, there's words. Trump denied it, said they're not my words. I don't draw. I've never drawn. I'm going to sue you. They included all that in the story. Is that unfair to Trump as a media outlet? If tomorrow there was a claim that I sexually assaulted somebody, my local news would report that. Like I was arrested because there's a claim that's, I can say all day long, I didn't do it. I don't even know that person. Who is that person? Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. They're still going to run it. And then they're going to say that I denied it through my attorney or that I maintain my innocence. Or how is that not fucking, that's fucking straight down the goddamn middle, dude. He said he didn't do it. It's unclear if he did. It's unclear how it was prepared. This is what it looks like. It's allegedly attributed to him in this book. Who knows? But like, he's going to sue their asses off because he told them it was fake and they weren't allowed to print it. Why do we have a president, first of all, telling people that they're not allowed to print stuff? Like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ, it's insane. It's fucking insane. Extremely insane. But it's blowing up. This letter is a big deal. Also, we had Trump lying about his uncle again for some reason.
So on Tuesday, the president told a very detailed story about his uncle, noted scientist John Trump, and Theodore Kaczynski, the late Unabomber. He said that Dr. Trump taught Ted Kaczynski. Ted Kaczynski was not identified as the Unabomber until 1996, 11 years after John Trump passed away. It would have been impossible for John Trump to have ever discussed the Unabomber with the president. So
it would be impossible for that to happen. What the fuck are you? Why would he say these things?
Until 1996, 11 years after John Trump passed away, it would have been impossible for John Trump to have ever discussed the Unabomber with the president. So what was he talking about? And I have one follow-up.
Andrew, with so many issues going on in the world, I'm a little bit surprised you would ask such a question, although I'm not.
He said that my uncle talked to me all the time about how smart the Unabomber was when he taught him in school, blah, blah, blah. Before we found out who the Unabomber was, his uncle was dead. There's no way he could have fucking told him that. You don't have to go out and say, with everything going on, and you know some nice little white Christian girls drowned to death, right? In Texas.
Until 1996, 11 years after John Trump passed away, it would have been impossible for John Trump to have ever discussed the Unabomber with the president. So what was he talking about? And I have one follow-up.
Andrew, with so many issues going on in the world, I'm a little bit surprised you would ask such a question, although I'm not. Sometimes coming from you, I will say, but I'm willing to give you an answer. Nevertheless, the president's uncle did, in fact, teach at MIT. He was a very intelligent professor. The president's very...
He often lies about this same uncle. The uncle said that he was that Donald Trump was the smartest person he'd ever met, and couldn't believe how smart he was, and he was like this well-respected, got this, got that. He lies about the awards he got, how long he taught there, what he taught. He lies about everything about this uncle.
Proud of his family. In fact, I have the president has a letter from his uncle on the MIT letterhead that sits in the Oval Office dining room. Maybe we'll let you see it sometime. Go ahead.
So nothing about the Unabomber. Nothing about the entire facts that they were questioning. Like, what the fuck? President Donald Trump likes to boast about the brilliance of his late uncle, John Trump, who spent decades as professor of electrical engineering at the renowned MIT. And when speaking about all manner of subjects, the president likes to make up stories filled with dramatic but fictional details. Every time he talks about this guy, he makes up shit. On Tuesday, Trump conjured an especially odd imaginary tale that linked his uncle with the late terrorist Theodore Ted Kaczynski, better known as the Unabomber. Trump was speaking at a Pennsylvania event about energy and innovation when he said he had to brag just for a second about his uncle's intelligence. After wrongly saying his uncle was the longest-serving professor in MIT history, not true. He was one of the longest-serving, but not the longest. And wrongly saying his uncle's 3 university degrees were in nuclear, chemical, and math. 2 were in electrical engineering, and 1 was in physics, not nuclear, chemical, and math. The president then claimed Kaczynski was one of his students. He went on to tell a story about having asked his uncle about what Kaczynski was like. I said, "What kind of student was he, Uncle John?" Dr. John Trump said, "I'm sorry. What kind of student was he, Uncle John?" Dr. John Trump, I said. What kind of student? What kind of a student? And then he said, seriously good. He said he'd go around correcting everybody, but it didn't work out too well for him. For 2 big reasons, this story could not possibly be accurate. First, the president's uncle died in 1985. Kaczynski was publicly revealed as the Unabomber a decade later in 1996. 11 years later. When he was captured, before that, he had lived as a recluse in the Montana wilderness, there is no apparent reason that Donald Trump would have been asking anyone about Kaczynski in 1985 or earlier, unless he's now telling us that his uncle worked with a Unabomber and knew who he was and revealed that to Trump. What the fuck ever. This is so crazy. Second, Kaczynski attended Harvard University and the University of Michigan. He never even went to MIT. Ted Kaczynski went to Harvard and Michigan, not MIT. An MIT spokesperson said in a Wednesday email, "We have no enrollment record or information that Ted Kaczynski ever attended MIT." Harvard has long allowed some students to register for classes at nearby MIT, but media outlets and MIT itself have found no sign that Kaczynski ever did that during his time at Harvard in the late 1950s and early 1960s, much less that Kaczynski, a Harvard mathematics major, studied under Trump, the MIT professor of electrical engineering. MIT reported on one of its websites in 1996 that Kaczynski's high school guidance counselors said Kaczynski had been offered admission to MIT in the 1950s, but had chosen Harvard instead. The White House did not respond to a request or for a comment on the president's tale. What the president could have accurately said is that his uncle was an esteemed MIT professor. The MIT spokesperson said Wednesday that John Trump remains among the longest-serving professors in our history and was a highly valued member of MIT. The MIT community throughout his tenure as a researcher, innovator, entrepreneur, teacher, and colleague. But that's not good enough, right? It couldn't just be my uncle was an amazing teacher at MIT. He had to know the fucking Unabomber, and Trump had to have inside knowledge about the Unabomber and tell these weird ass fucking stories. And yes, somebody mentioned it in chat. It looks like the Trump machine may have taken out Stephen Colbert. After all these years, the Colbert Report, it's been announced that his show will end in May of 2026. And the announcement came just days after Colbert spoke out against the $16 million settlement paid by CBS News parent Paramount to settle a lawsuit filed by Donald Trump. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert will end May 2026. CBS announced Thursday in a statement calling it purely a financial decision. It is not related in any way to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount, the statement added, describing it as an agonizing decision. Colbert took over as host, executive producer, and writer for the show in 2015. The announcement came days after Colbert spoke out against the $16 million paid earlier this month by Paramount, the parent company of CBS News, to settle a lawsuit filed by Donald Trump during the last year's presidential campaign. Trump in late October alleged that his electoral chances were harmed after the network aired two separate versions of an answer given by then Vice President Kamala Harris during an interview for 60 Minutes. CBS maintained that Harris's answers were edited for time, not manipulated to make her look any better, and they released the full unredacted version at the same time. Anyways, Paramount's settlement did not include an apology. While I was on vacation, my parents' corporation, Paramount, paid Donald Trump a $16 million settlement over a 60-minute lawsuit, Colbert said on his show Monday. As someone who has always been a proud employee of this network, I'm offended, and I don't know if anything will ever repair my trust in this company. But just taking a stab at it, I'd say $16 million would help. He said the technical name in legal circles for a settlement was a big fat bribe. Adam Schiff, the Democratic senator from California, said on social media that he was present at the taping of the show when Colbert announced that it would be coming to an end. If Paramount and CBS ended the Late Show for political reasons, the public deserves to know, he said. This is a developing story and will be updated. That's sad. Stephen Colbert is very, very, very... Even when I was a Trump person, I had to admit, like, this shit is funny as hell. Even though I don't like what he's saying because I'm brainwashed MAGA, it was still fucking funny, dude. I grew up, when I was in high school at home, watching the Colbert Report, and the Daily Show with Jon Stewart came on right after. And that's when Colbert kind of pretended to be like a fucking right-wing nut job. He started a super PAC. He did everything. I don't know. Sucks. So there you go. There's that, I guess. So looks like somebody submitted us a song. If you guys are interested in listening to it, let's see if it'll play. I think it's about Barefoot Bert.
Bert lost his old red Ford, left it broke down by the Texaco board. Wheels won't turn, engine won't hum, now he's walking barefoot where the coyotes run. Oh, Bert, life's a cruel game, nothing but troubles, they call your name. Lost your car, lost your bed, even shadows hissing, wishing you were dead.
Even Shadow wishes you were dead.
Eviction notice nailed to his door. Landlord said can't wait no more. Packed his shirts in a paper sack. Shadow scratched him when he turned his back. And he wonders, oh he wonders, how it all fell apart like a rolling thunder. Oh Bert, life's a cruel game, nothing but troubles, they call your name. Lost your car, lost your bed, even shadows hissing, wishing you were dead.
Now we're going into the bridge.
Eviction notice nailed to his door. Landlord said can't wait no more. Packed his shirts in a paper sack. Shadows scratched him when he turned his back. And he wonders, oh he wonders, how it all fell apart like rolling thunder. Oh Bert, life's a cruel game, nothing but troubles, they call your name. Lost your car, lost your bed, even shadows hissing, wishing you were dead. Shadows on the windowsill, tail flipping mean, eyes like daggers, sharp and keen. Used to purr, used to curl by his side, now she's watching him fall, no place to hide.
Oh, Bert. Ramesh sent that in.
Sail tail flicking mean, eyes like daggers, sharp and keen. Used to purr, used to curl by his side, now she's watching him fall, no place to hide. Now she's watching him fall, no place to hide.
That's kind of sad. Should we pay Bert's rent? Is that what we got to do? One week of Bert's rent. Sorry, old Barefoot Bert. Oh, Barefoot Bert. Standing around pissing in the wind, I guess. I don't. The fuck. What about the Republicans now want to take Trump's personal lawyer, his personal defense attorney, and give them a lifetime judge appointment? That's cool. That's a cool thing that people do, I guess. Sometimes. Fucking idiot, dude. We did this, we did that. Did we do this one? I'm sure you all have seen this one already. It's pretty viral.
Right. Because Epstein was convicted during the Biden administrations. Not one time.
What? Epstein was what?
Right. Because Epstein was convicted during the Biden administrations. Not one.
Epstein was convicted when?
Epstein was convicted during the Biden administrations.
He also called him Edestein. Epstein was convicted during the Biden administrations.
Not one time did Hakeem Jeffrey call for any exposition of what the Biden Justice Department knew. He doesn't care about the truth.
Wait,
he doesn't care about the people.
Hold on. Bill.
This is what
hold on.
he does.
Hold on, Bill. Hold on. You said Epstein was convicted during the Biden administration. Epstein committed during the Trump administration.
And Biden was after Trump.
Yeah, so am I wrong on that?
Yeah.
He was arrested in 2019, and he committed in 2019. He died August 10th of 2019. So the Biden administration was not involved in a conviction or a trial of him. They were in of Elaine Maxwell.
Okay. But he was arrested and indicted under Merrick Garland.
No.
No, not at all.
Arrested and indicted under Merrick Garland.
No, under Trump.
Who had all
under
of the
Trump.
information.
Epstein was arrested, indicted under Trump. In 2019, Trump was president. Merrick Garland was not the attorney.
Look how confused. Well, I was going to say that, you know, they could have released all the information then, huh? Yeah, why he's going to court.
Okay.
Okay. That clip is going pretty viral. So there you go. Yeah. And then our girl that left TPUSA and came out. A lot of people are giving her hate, but I'm glad she's coming forward. You know, she was right wing when she was younger, and she fell in with TPUSA, and now she saw the error of her ways, and now she's trying to expose it. So here we go.
You all know that I worked for Turning Point USA, but what if I told you that Turning Point was just a small part of a larger plan? Let's talk about the real right-wing youth indoctrination machine. So before Charlie Kirk was on college campuses yelling about pronouns and immigrants, there was something called the Leadership Institute. The Leadership Institute was founded in 1979 by a guy named Morton.
TPUSA is just a very small. It's huge, but it's a cog in a machine.
Blackwell. And the Leadership Institute's whole mission was to train conservatives to win. And they've been doing it for decades. Workshops on how
Much like Project 2025 and their weird coalition of leaders or whatever they called it, like their pool of people for Trump to pick from for positions.
How to run for office, media training, how to organize activism and campaigns. Their programs, they claim over 200,000 graduates. And this thing is not just fringe. It is a deeply connected and intentionally designed Republican and right-wing infrastructure. So we have the Leadership Institute, then comes Turning Point USA, founded in 20...
No, not Heritage Foundation. They have a... They had a separate pool of people for appointees, and it was called something.
2012 by a guy we all know, Charlie Kirk. Here's the thing though. Turning Point likes to frame themselves as a grassroots movement, but they're cut
The Presidential Administration Academy.
the same cloth as the Leadership Institute and even share a lot of the same donors. Turning Point took the blueprint that the Leadership Institute had set up and they made it flashy and more culturally relevant. They frame it as grassroots, but the money comes from billionaires who benefit from...
They even did, we watched some of them, training videos. We'll watch one in a second.
Low taxes as the Leadership Institute and even share a lot of the same donors. Turning Point took the blueprint that the Leadership Institute had set up and they made
people like the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro's thing and his movies and Turning Point USA and the college activism and all that shit, all came from a piece of advice that Andrew Breitbart came out with, that politics is downstream from culture, and right now the left is winning the culture war, right? It's cool to be left. They've got Hollywood. They've got the movies. And what they didn't realize was it wasn't the left. It was just people being decent people, right? Decent humans aren't like, fuck those poor people, send them back home because they're brown. It wasn't the left. It was just morality. But in their minds, they're the moral people because God's on their side, and they had to take over culture. So they started going to They're producing their own movies. They got the Daily Wire. They got the podcast. Because before this big shift to where the left was doing like Hollywood and music and everything like that, the big thing was talk radio. And the right wing absolutely dominated talk radio. So it comes in phases, right? The right wing had everything on talk radio. That was it. I grew up listening to that shit. Rush Limbaugh and all those people. And then talk radio just kind of disappeared. And everything went to TV, movies, music. And that was the left in control of it. And Andrew Breitbart said, hey, if we're ever going to win again, we've got to go to this. We've got to get them in college. We got to be hip. We got to be cool. We got to have our own movies, our own music, our own influencers, our own everything. And that's where everything downstream came from.
Made it flashy and more culturally relevant. They frame it as grassroots, but the money comes from billionaires who benefit from low taxes, weak labor laws, and deregulation. Turning Point USA is not a youth movement. It is a marketing campaign for the 1%. These groups, like Turning Point and the Leadership Institute, don't just teach their students to be conservative. They train them to be aggressively anti-government, anti-diversity, anti-labor, and
also, I don't think Ben Shapiro's dumb. But I heard him today go after Tucker Carlson because Tucker Carlson says that he thinks that Epstein had connections to Mossad. And he comes out and says, no, there's no connection to Mossad. Even leaders within the Israeli government said that Epstein had no connection to Mossad. But wouldn't that be what we expect them to say? If he had connections to, like the U.S. has a policy where they're going to deny no matter what. If you get captured overseas as a fucking member of the CIA or whatever, they just disavow you. That's not our person, and they'll never admit it. Even if they go to trade for you, like trade prisoners for you, they'll still won't admit that you're an asset, no matter what. You were a student who just happened to be in North Korea, who just happened to be really interested in missile sites, who just happened to be inside the missile sites rewiring their fucking fuse panel. But that's just because you're a dumb kid who likes to have fun. They'll hire fake parents to come on and cry and say, he was just adventurous and wanted to be an electrician one day. He didn't do anything wrong. And they'll deny all the way to the end. So wouldn't Mossad do the same thing?
Loyal to ideology over facts. And once you're in the pipeline, they fast track you. I'm talking internships on the Hill, internships and jobs in right-wing media. They reward obedience, but they punish any dissent. I mean, this is how the right maintains control, by brainwashing young people and rewarding them with the carrot of a bright, shiny political future. This is how the right keeps power, by shaping minds before those minds have a chance to develop critical thinking. So essentially, the right has been building out and investing in this aggressive, massive youth infrastructure for like over 40 years. And the scary thing is, they don't wait for youth to reach out and find them and want to get involved. They are aggressively
they go get them.
Trying to recruit
That's right.
them. Meanwhile, on the other hand, progressives are, as usual, playing the defense. And I think it's time that we change that. Rather than sitting back and letting this infrastructure continue to funnel in unqualified, brainwashed people into our government and our media, it's time for the progressives and the Democrats to take back control. We need our own leadership institute, our own training, our own spaces where young people can come in and learn to think critically, not just be taught talking points. So basically, Turning Point didn't just come out of nowhere. It was built, and it's all by design. And if we want to fight back, we have to build too.
There you go. I like how she's exposing it, to be honest with you. Her name is babyblue.tx. Babyblue.tx.
You've seen the conservative content creators. You've seen the camp.
She worked for Turning Point USA, in case you're wondering. If you didn't see where we covered it the other day, she was like an intern, worked there for like a couple years or whatever when she grew up, right wing.
Drama and the signs and the debates. Turning Point likes to frame itself as a grassroots movement. But here's what they won't tell you.
They're not grassroots. I think they astroturf the fuck out of whoever. Like, you guys remember when that, what's the guy's name? The guy that come out with the song, hold on just a second. Oliver Anthony. You guys remember when Oliver Anthony, and it was a good song. I'm not knocking that. Every right-wing associated Twitter account shared it within like 3 minutes of each other. That Rich Men North of Richmond. It's a good song. It's catchy or whatever. Every right-wing account shared it within 3 minutes of each other. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Turning Point is bankrolled by billionaires. So Turning Point loves to market itself as some scrappy youth-led movement, but the truth is they've completely sold out to billionaires and huge donors. People who have a very real interest in keeping you powerless, angry, and misinformed. So some of these donors include Foster Freeze. He's a wealthy investor and he was one of Turning Point's early backers back when I was involved. The Koch network, Uline, Donors Trust, which I could do a whole series on Donors Trust, and the Bradley Foundation. And these are like pipelines to get dark money into organizations like Turning Point. And guess what? These people and these organizations do not care about your free speech on campus. No, they care about—
They never have.
Low and wages lower. So why would businessmen pump millions of dollars into a student organization with merch and dumb graphics and posters? Because Turning Point is just a shield. While billionaires exploit their tax loopholes and underpay their workers, Turning Point keeps people like you distracted by keeping you angry at immigrants and liberals and the media. It's literally divide and conquer 101. They just want to keep you distracted. Their message is tailored to protect the people that are funding them. That's why they don't talk about wealth inequality, but they blame labor unions and climate policy and student loan forgiveness. It's not activism, it's just a business model. If a group like Turning Point claims to fight for the people, but is at the same time funded by billionaires, that doesn't really compute for me. And I know that your people in the comments are gonna say like, oh, well, the Democrats are bought and sold too. Yeah, they 100% are. I'm gonna do a series on dark money in politics and we can talk all about how both parties are bought and sold. If a group claims that they speak for you, but they're funded by billionaires, they don't speak for you. Organizations like Turning Point, anything funded by organizations like Donors Trust, are just a mouthpiece. So follow for more breakdowns, because exposing the system starts with knowing who pays for the megaphone. You've seen the conservative—
That is true. Who pays for the megaphone? That's a good way to say it. Not bad. All right, here's one of their— this is from the training academy within the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025. ProPublica and Documented obtained videos from the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025. They're intended to train political appointees for the next conservative administration. So they made them watch these videos and trained them on it, right? And then had a pool of people that had been trained and pre-approved for Trump to appoint to positions, and just had a group of hundreds of people.
Execute and prove. You don't have that honeymoon period for very long, maybe 100 days, and you have to execute and prove that you deserve to win that election by fulfilling the promises to the American people.
In the eyes of many in the world, this every 4 year—
And it looks like an expensive production, to be honest with you.
ceremony we accept as normal is nothing less than a miracle.
It's not some guy with a webcam, that's for sure.
We understand that a nation is only living as long as it is striving.
Only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger.
This great nation will endure as it has endured, will revive and will prosper.
Whether we go forward together.
Why your service matters, how presidential appointees at all levels can impact policy.
Welcome to our Project 2025 Transition Project and our training session today, Why Your Service Matters, How Presidential Appointees at All Levels Can Impact Policy. I'm Derek Morgan, Executive Vice President at the Heritage Foundation, and I'm joined today by Roger Severino, Vice President for Domestic Policy, and Aaron Walsh, who's our Senior Fellow in International Affairs at the Asian Studies Center. We're going to be talking today about why it's...
I think almost every person that Trump's appointed has been pre-screened by Project 2025.
important to be aligned in an administration, why you should serve, and the impact that you can have. And so with that, I think we'll get started right away with introductions and where we served in administrations. All three of us served different presidents, some of us multiple presidents. We'll get to that. I served for 4 years for Vice President Dick Cheney as his staff secretary and special counsel and assistant to the vice president. It was an excellent experience, and I'm sure we'll get into that a little later. But Roger, why don't we start with you, and where did you serve?
I was in the Trump administration as director of the Office of Civil Rights.
Walmart training.
And Aaron, tell us, where did you serve?
Well, I started at the age of 18, so I served 4 presidents, starting with Ronald Reagan. When I was in college, I was at the Office of Correspondence, and then went on to Political Affairs, then went over to the Office of Protocol and served at Blair House, Department of Energy, and then in the Bush 41, I served up the U.S. mission to the UN for 5 years, and then in 43, I came back and was at the State Department in Near Eastern Affairs Bureau, and then during the Trump administration, I was at the White House, and then over to as Assistant Secretary at Department of Commerce, and then came back to the White House at the National Security Council.
That's fantastic. Well, we're going to put your hat.
It was representing the United States, which is an amazing privilege of that.
Many
friends, and we went down to the mall and stood there and listened to the speech, and it was so. And that's a very different role than obviously you start out with. And I came in and out of government.
People were talking to their doctors when they otherwise were afraid to go to the medical centers and hospitals. And I'm sure we probably found people who were showing their doctors with their iPhone, hey, what is this mole? And turns out it may have been cancer. It goes to show you'll never know where your public service may take you, but you could even have life-saving impact.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I was thinking about this in my own experience, which is particularly as a more junior level person.
That was a reshoot there.
One of the things we were looking at is people that had experience to go into the different roles that they had in each of the department. I mean, every single department that we have has multiple layers of roles, everything from strategic communication.
I'd be a good, having to drain the swamp. They want the swamp. I'd be a good advisor.
To advance to.
Somebody dropped my name in there. I tried to get a press credentials. Remember when they put up the website that anybody could get press credentials? I'm registered, never heard back.
In the national side, a whole number of things.
Normally they've got that commitment, that excitement, and they're having to make a lot of personal sacrifices, because particularly in that particular case, they're all over the world traveling, and that's the person that's right by the side of the director who's helping with everything from logistics to policy and everything else. That's a really good training ground, and it's also one where...
I'll get right on that.
That's
probably it, the spam folder. 2 or 3 people, I didn't even think about it.
Probably a lot of them work here at Heritage. We're one of our 45 partner organizations.
That's right.
And so building that network before you go in is also critical.
The Heritage Foundation is scary as fuck, dude. The things they believe, the things they want, it's just insane.
As Roger mentioned, coming in and going out, like I personally have, and many people have. The people that I met at the beginning, in the first administration, the second, the third, and the fourth, those are...
For a White House office to know what to expect that first day, and knowing what to expect is really half the battle, or more than half the battle.
There was literally like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of this training, and a lot of it talked on like, oh, well, President Trump's first administration, all these people just clogged up everything, but it's not going to be that way. We're gonna put in a fast track to where everybody's on the same page, everybody wants the same goal, and when he says something, it happens immediately. And now we know a lot of that was to avoid the courts. He doesn't want to get bogged down in things like, is this constitutional? Can this actually be done by the president? We just want it done immediately. That's what we want. That's what we need. Move the fuck on. All right, let's see.
First time, I'm under the forest. I'm inside the field. Oh, it's a hot day.
Atsuko, what are your people doing?
Today to write. It seems so. It is also getting steaming hot today. It seems right. Yeah. I'm rude, but what age are you now? I am born in flat grocery. 5 moon, 20 day. So I'm 33 years. What about under the forest? I'm born in shining harmony 63. 11 moon, 1 day. I'm 35. Oh, my superior. That thing is not.
Atsuko, what are you doing? Are you training us for something? Invasion?
More coming. First time. I'm under the forest. I'm inside the field. I'm a little river. I'm little pond. First time. First time. I'm under the forest. I'm inside the field. Oh. Oh. It's a hot day today too, right? It seems so. It is also getting steaming hot today. It seems right.
A lot of people don't know this. That Atsuko's a sister. Much, much, much younger sister.
In Japan, we don't say, "Will you marry me?" We say, 君の味噌汁が毎日食べたい.
I want to eat your miso soup every day.
In Japan, we don't say,
What have you started, Atsuko?
1月、2月、3月、4月、5月、6月。
I heard a Godzilla slip in there.
Little convenience combine. P. Little convenience combine. P. Little convenience combine. P.
What the fuck was that, Atsuko?
そんなバカ野郎バカそんな
Those all mean idiot?
バカ野郎バカそんなバカ野郎
First time.
金出せ
Oh, that's Atsuko's Rice Dungeons making an appearance.
はい何枚ですか
バカか全部だ
かしこまりました1枚2枚3枚4枚
早くしろ
5枚6枚7枚8枚9枚10枚
もういい
You only got $10? Oh, okay. Anyways, we can move on. Atsuko, you gotta up your production value here.
So this actually happened in the middle of the night last night, while you were probably sleeping. I hope you were sleeping. House Republicans voted to block the release of records related to Jeffrey Epstein. That includes witness testimony like Ghislaine Maxwell's. Ghislaine Maxwell reportedly wants to testify. She's in prison.
She's asked
I was never offered
to testify
I know
in front of Congress.
To speak publicly on the record to Congress. And aside from not being offered a deal, Republicans are now saying no.
Weird. Republicans don't want her to speak in front of Congress? But they'll call the nannies, the nanny's janitor's second cousin twice removed if it has to do with Hunter Biden. Ghislaine Maxwell? Nope. Not interested. We still talking about that guy? He's a creep.
I know so much. I'm willing to speak publicly on the record to Congress. And aside from not being offered a deal, Republicans are now saying no. Republicans who supposedly want transparency and accountability and
I don't care who she tells on, just bring her in.
Law and order, they are voting as you.
The rumor was that she only wanted to do it for a deal, and her lawyer said no. We think that she's fully protected under this clause that we're taking to the Supreme Court for the co-conspirators. She just wants a chance to talk.
You can see here, they voted to prevent that. The vote came during a late night Rules Committee session. Republicans shot down a Democratic amendment. It would have required the Attorney General to preserve and release the Epstein files, including who was involved, who visited, who abused. Why would you block it? Why would you protect this information? Why would you protect anyone?
Atsuko started a YouTube channel. Stop making fun of it, chat.
Connected to Epstein, if he's really the villain Republicans made him out to be for years, including
better than Barefoot Burt
while Biden was president, even though, of course, Epstein was arrested when Trump was president and he died in a cell while Trump was president, because this goes way beyond Epstein. There's a report that Ghislaine Maxwell is eager to talk about the client list, that she would welcome the opportunity to testify before Congress. Not only was she never asked, Now Republicans are trying to make sure she never gets the opportunity. She says there was no plea deal. She's the only one in prison. She says the government has never come to her and said, please name names. That's a little bit unusual, isn't it? You'd think it's the first thing that they would want, unless the names are what? Too powerful? People that need to be protected? Trump's AG, Pam Bondi, said she would release it. Then she says it doesn't exist. We don't really have anything.
It is weird that they've never asked her. Like, there was a conspiracy to traffic children to wealthy billionaires on a secret pedo island, and they've never asked who was there. Who were you getting these kids for besides Epstein? What was going on? Nope, not interested.
There's nothing in there, and also I don't have the list. Except now Trump is saying there is a list, except it was Obama and Clinton. I don't know if he even said which Clinton. It was Obama and Clinton, and maybe even Biden, who created the list or whatever. Trump biographer Michael Wolff says Epstein once showed him Polaroids of Trump with topless underage girls at Epstein's Palm Beach house. Not just photos, photos with stains on Trump's pants, reportedly. These are just allegations from Michael Wolff, supposedly relating to 1999 or the year 2000 at Epstein's house. Michael Wolff believes the FBI had those photos, that they got him when they raided Jeffrey Epstein's safe. And we now have a situation where much of Trump's base is turning on him, and we're going to get to that in a moment. But you've got, right-wing media saying Pam Bondi needs to be fired. You've got others that are going further and saying it's not just Pam Bondi, it's actually Trump who's the problem. And this is sort of a monster they created, which they've lost control of, because a huge chunk of MAGA bought into QAnon. And QAnon said Democrats are hiding Epstein's secrets. Well, now you can release them. Recall that Trump now says that the files do exist, but Obama and Hillary created them. And well, so release them then and show us all of the lies that are in there that Obama and Hillary are telling.
That's been out since 2024. The Michael Wolff, that Epstein showed me photos of Trump with topless young women sitting in his lap. Yeah, there's even one with a stain on his pants.
So the recap is Ghislaine Maxwell's ready to testify, we believe. Department of Justice says there's no...
He didn't sue Michael Wolff. That was weird.
Client list. Nobody went to Ghislaine Maxwell and said, come tell us the truth, which we supposedly want to know. And now Republicans have blocked, with a vote, they have voted to block the release of the Epstein records in the middle of the night. And increasingly, MAGA is seeing the betrayal.
I would love to know what they got out of Epstein's safe.
They are seeing that Trump isn't the guy who's going to do the exposing. Trump's the guy trying to avoid getting exposed. For weeks now, discussions have focused on Trump's big, beautiful bill and its potential Medicaid cuts. However, a far more dangerous, overlooked provision in the bill exists. At ground.news/Pacman, you'll discover what MAGA lawmakers quietly included, a provision that could block federal judges from enforcing court orders unless a bond is posted. And if this passes, it could render Trump above the law. This is a critical detail. It's largely unknown, and it really exemplifies this flood the zones.
All the campaign said at the time was Michael Wolff is a disgraced writer who routinely fabricates lies in order to sell fiction books because he clearly has no morals or ethics. That's it. Kind of weird though, huh? Get to the bottom of all these pedophiles somehow. How could we ever do it? I saw Gavin Newsom on the Sean Ryan show. Oh, I saw clips. And the clips I saw, he actually did pretty good. Oh, this was one with Madison Marquette. Madison Marquette.
Your side too. Oh, there it is. We are rolling. Hello, everybody. I'm here today with my friend Madison Marquette. And I want to start off really quick, just giving a quick time.
Carmen Studer. She's a grifting piece of shit too. But
because a lot of people that are going to come see this might not be familiar with my channel. My channel began because I was working with...
Oh, and after the White House said that Trump's hands look so weird because he shakes, they're irritated from shaking so many hands. They finally came out and said he has some type of vein disorder. Like, it's basically where your veins have like valves built into them. Chronic venous insufficiency. It's basically where your lower leg veins especially have valves built into them that, so when you stand up, all the blood just doesn't go down to your legs or when you're setting up or whatever. And sometimes those valves wear out. So look at these fucking cankles, bro. It looks like he's got congestive heart failure to me, but apparently CVI is a condition that could cause this as well. But usually, which we don't see his legs a lot, CVI a lot of times has like darkening and you can see the blood pulling up. So you can see through it. My dad had congestive heart failure before he died, and his ankles and legs would swell, and he had to put them up, and his heart just wasn't working well enough to pull the blood back up.
a gentleman by the name of Michael Jaco, who's a patriot. And during that time, I interviewed Madison Marquette as somebody who was the only person I'd ever heard of that had been to a military tribunal. And because of this,
A military tribunal, you say?
we started being in contact. And then when I heard about her horrific story that, yes, began in the porn industry when she was 18 after being an abused and traumatized child. I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you the facts. She, during one of the times, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, during one of the times, it went from being porn to being held against your will, drugged and shackled, basically, and taken and trafficked. And not only were you trafficked from the age of what, 18?
18, 19.
By the way, none of this is true.
To about 25, 26. It was,
Okay.
yeah.
So
She was in porn. She's a fucking criminal. She's been in all kinds of trouble. She found a grift in QAnon, and she stuck to it. We covered it the other day. She's now in jail.
So for 7 years, 8 years, somewhere around there, way too long.
I read her response, didn't I?
And it was an absolute
Last night's
miracle
show.
that saved you. And it was ironically a bounce check. And they came after you for that and ended up saving you from the traffickers. And then you were put into jail. Then you went through horrific things in jail. And what happens, and I would love for you to kind of like clean up anything that I left out, because I want people to understand how we came across each other. And so when I first started my channel, I had all these people that were following me and I'd never done anything. And it was just because I had worked with Michael Jaco. And so I thought, well, here I've got these people. Why don't I start this thing called the Wilderness Church? Because I always felt left out of the church, the Bible, that I was always confused by how many different sects of Christianity there were. I had been burned in a mega church here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I went through my divorce, had no support at all from anyone. And so when I first started my channel, I wanted it to be a place for people to get and be able to openly speak about, where they are on their faith and how to become better. And it was just a very simple channel. But I did invite Madison to come on and tell her story. And then kind of one thing led to the next. And I ended up interviewing a lot of people from the SRA world. And so SA, SRA, just so many different things. And that led to a lot of other things that showed me the underbelly and how infiltrated the churches were. And so this is a lot to handle. If you've never heard any of this stuff, I just ask you to keep your ears and eyes open and to question.
Especially when it's all a fucking lie and we're just making it up. So keep an open mind, guys.
Everything that we're saying, we have no problem being questioned. Madison and I don't even agree.
I wouldn't doubt that. They've been returning a lot of people's channels. Of course, not mine, but a lot of other people's channels.
On everything. There's certain people that I like and listen to that she can't stand. And there's people, well, no, there's none of the opposite direction. But really, one of the things that Madison and I absolutely are in agreement on is that we have to be able to talk about these things, and we have to be able to talk about these things without harming Christianity, but without putting the co-conspirators in the wrong box. Because I think a lot of times they get put in the wrong box. And so I just want to say one more thing, and that is I want to say a major disclaimer. Everything that I'm saying is my opinion based on my personal experience of talking to SRA victims and my experience going through the churches here in Dallas. And I've been to almost every megachurch there is. And I know that this is a lot of setup, and I apologize, but I think it's really important for people to have the foundation. And so over time, I ended up not interviewing anyone that was a SRA victim. And the reason was because there is so much infighting. They trigger each other, and a lot of emotional and spiritual abuse that starts bubbling up to the surface. And so it makes it very difficult to make progress. But one of the things that I've witnessed in watching this Daystar thing unfold is that everyone is getting it to a point, but they're not seeing the dark underbelly. And so now I'm not going to speak for you, Madison, but I'm assuming that you're going to speak from your opinion and your first-hand account and maybe some second-hand accounts, like people who are friends of yours that have told you things, but you won't be speaking beyond that, right?
No, I always tell people if it's my opinion, I'll say, hey, this is my opinion, or this is not firsthand knowledge. When I speak, it's firsthand account. That's why I don't get sued, right? I get a lot of threats and everything. And I do want to say this before we start, because I want to make it clear. I know I'm very vocal about a lot of things, but I do want to say back in, when I started speaking out, even though I'm not a fan of Michael Jaco, it was these so-called patriots and Carmen that gave me a voice. And as much as whatever, I still am thankful for that, because that gave me a platform and a voice. And regardless of what my opinion is now, there were none of these churches gave me a voice. Some of them said they were going to give me a voice, and then my character got assassinated, and they still come to me now and say, once you're cleared and things start coming out, I want to interview you. I have no desire to. These churches are being interviewed by any of them or go on their I just have no desire to do it. So I just want to make that very, very clear that I do appreciate them giving me a voice. And I have stayed friends with Carmen, even when she was like, hey, I'm not interviewing SRA survivors anymore or SA survivors. It was not a personal thing or attack against any survivor or victim. I want people to be very clear on that, because her and I stayed friends. And it was kind of a blessing, because her and I did get to develop this friendship and get to know each other more. And listen, my kids adore her, and so I can't argue with that, because my kids are very particular on people. So
I absolutely love kids. And that's really probably the main reason I even stay involved in this is I really do want people to understand how dark the underbelly is. We're not talking about sins like,
it is dark down there.
oh, he cheated on his wife, or, you know, he's gambling, or he's got a porn. We're talking deeper, darker, foul, disgusting, demonic things. And so let's keep coming along the timeline. So after I stopped
Chokes on prison food. It's weird that her and her pedophile husband are both in there, huh?
interviewing people, Madison had made this sort of list where she was on Twitter and she was just rolling through all of the people that were involved in trafficking. And we called it Churchgate because it was all people related to churches or ministries or parachurches.
Well, when we're just making up people that are traffickers, we can make them anything. Like I could pick everybody that works at the Coca-Cola company and say, oh, must have something to do with Coca-Cola.
Or some sort of like 501c3. And I remember looking at that list and going, well, this person is someone I like, and this is somebody I look to, and this is somebody I listen to, and keep this in mind that that's a normal reaction. And so I didn't believe her. We were still friends. I didn't not believe her. I just didn't have proof. But since then, let's say she named 100 people, and I think she's named well more than that, like many, many more than that. But let's say she named 100 just for argument's sake. There has clearly been at least 25 to 35 of these people who are either being investigated, have stepped down, have handed their ministries over, or have had some sort of legal troubles or possible legal troubles. And I literally sent it to Madison the other day. I asked Perplexity, out of the 38,000 approximate pastors there are in the nation, what are the chances that one person could pick 100 of them as...
Also, while they're trying to make Trump's personal defense attorney a federal judge, that you saw where they fired Comey's daughter, right? She fucking, this should be part of that Epstein thing. She helped prosecute Epstein, or Ghislaine Maxwell, and set up the indictments against Epstein. Like, that ought to be part of it.
Being illicit or wrong or bad in some major way, and that 25 to 35 of them would be proved out. It literally says the person would have to have inside knowledge because it was the odds were so low. So, this is something that you have to look at. And that's what I started looking at was she would even say like, this person's probably going to step down, this person, and then they would. And the first one that I witnessed was Rick Warren. And so before we also start, I want you to feel her heart for Christianity. So Madison, will you tell
Maureen Comey, I think,
about Joel Osteen and how even though you named
a Joel Osteen story, let's hear it.
And that is not good. You also give him credit for hitting your heart as a literally way that God touched you.
Yeah. So if anyone's heard my story, I mean, I talk about, first of all, I went to the church, right, to get help when I was in, I am very vocal about, yes, I decided to do porn. I have never lied about that or faltered from that at all. I went to the church for help. And, fast forward to when I'm in jail, listen, you go from one enslavement to another enslavement to another enslavement, you're mentally just broken down. And I felt like when I was in the industry and being trafficked, I mentally had to be a certain way to survive. But then when I got arrested and was in jail, I just couldn't survive anymore. And I was ready to kill myself. I was like, I'm done. It's time to just go. I'm done with this, right? And so there was this lady, and I remember she was in a parking ticket. I don't know. I want to say it was parking tickets. I don't really remember. I remember she was sitting on this bottom bunk. We were in population, and she looked at me and she said, "Hey, you're going to get out today." And I just cussed this lady out. Granted, I'm not how I am now, right? I hadn't gone to therapy. I had just gotten arrested. Actually, I had been in jail for 73 days. So I had been in there for a hot second, right? And so I'm just this crazy person cussing her out. And I tell a story. When I was little, I did these fashion shows called Fashion Forward. And Crystal Lewis.
Oh my God, get to the point.
Artist. And she's, gosh, this is a beautiful person. I want to be like that. You aspire to be like these women, right? So I hear this song after I cuss this lady out, Come Just As You Are. And so in the Santa Ana jail, there's population, and then there's a room attached that had a TV, and it was you can go in and sit down and play cards or whatever. So I go in and I hear Come Just As You Are. And of all people, Joel, I was going to kill myself. I had a plan, okay, is on the TV. And I think this was God using Joel Osteen at that moment because I was going to kill myself. I had a plan to do it, when to do it, how to do it, and to get away with it.
And how to make money off of it.
Die. And Joel Osteen comes on the TV after that song, Come Just As You Are, and says, "You are in the worst place you've ever been. Just give God one more chance." And I'm not getting emotional. I tell the story all the time, but now I don't think I've told it in a while. So he's like, "Give God one more chance." And so I did. I was like, "Okay, God." And I was cussing at God and said, "Okay, I'll give you one more chance." And I was I bowed my head and said, "Okay, God, this is your last chance you get from me because I've given you a lot of chances. This is the last chance." And I got bailed out. Previous is I got bailed out by my dad, who was an abusive piece of crap, and called me a whore when I got out of jail. But I still got bailed out. And I went into court. I knew that I had, my charge was burglary. Like I went and like held up this bank, which I didn't. I wrote a bad check. I took money from one account, closed account, and opened up another account, took that money out of the bank. And so I went in and I said, hey, I want to plead guilty, took responsibility for what I did. And then I moved on with my life. It's so funny because people use that against me now. And I write about it in my book. And I'm like, listen, first of all, we won't even get into the way the courts are corrupt and everything. But back then I held myself accountable, which for victims, at that point I was a victim. I'm not a victim anymore, but at that point I was. It is very difficult for victims to hold themselves accountable. And this was God walking me through as soon as I took those steps out of jail of like, hey, he gave me a verse. Like, I don't remember what the verse is. I have to go back and look it up, but it was basically if you take responsibility and you say, hey, I did this, then God's going to forgive you. And I did. And then listen, there were things stacked against me back then. Like my family wanted me to spend 6 months in jail because the deal was either 6 months in jail or 30 days house arrest. And the person who had a lot of these preachers, she loved watching these preachers on TV. Okay. So I got up in the morning and she's listening to these preachers and she has the Bible. But here's the thing, it didn't trigger me because and I don't have it.
Everybody raped her if they got enough attention online.
I'm trying to get people to understand is that one, yes, God can use any what the word is, but like just how.
I'm tired of watching her. But there's Madison Marquette back in her heyday. She's in jail now.
Marjorie Taylor Greene at a campaign event was caught on a recording. Trash. Now this is something that she also does. But that doesn't fit. No title as good. So here's her at, again, a campaign event in front of MAGAs, and they're supporting what she's saying, going, yes, release the Epstein files. And then we'll talk about a different subject in this segment where she's attacking Trump on that has nothing to do with Epstein, in case you're getting Epstein out.
And that is the question, why? We know nothing about the people that hung out with Jeffrey Epstein. We should.
We know a little bit something. I know a little bit something about one of the people.
There are things you have to continue to push for, and you're not wrong to do it. And it doesn't make you a conspiracy theorist. It makes you right to continue to hold your government accountable at all times. But I also want more out of the Department of Justice. I do. I want the list of those names. And I'm not sorry to say that. I think it's the right thing to do to continue to push for accountability.
Well, there we go, huh? But again, she also did say this to Manu Raju.
How big of a blowback is there right now in MAGA world specifically?
It's pretty big, I have to be honest. It's just a red line that it crosses for many people. Jeffrey Epstein is literally the most well-known convicted pedophile in modern day history. This is something that's been talked about by many people serving in the administration, myself and many others on the right and the left, of there needing to be transparency of the rich and powerful elites that were in his circle while he was just one of the worst serial abusers of young women. It has been a very serious situation for the administration. And
when even Marjorie Taylor Greene is breaking away from the official MAGA stance, that's how you know it's bad.
Many people are speaking out online. You've seen it. You saw it at Turning Point Student Action Summit.
Now speak correct about the Epstein case she was working on. Probably.
This weekend, and a lot of people in MAGA, they really want to know more information about the people that were involved with Jeffrey Epstein, and is there a blackmail list?
This is a weird time, huh? Earlier in the show, I told you about release the Epstein files, right? Pictures all at protest, release the Epstein files, release, yeah. And then Putin.
I saw a guy that came up with soccer chants for the World Cup about Trump and how he's a piece of shit and he's on the list and he's into young kids, all those things, which I thought was very, very funny. He said, feel free to use them when the World Cup comes.
Jumped in and went, release the Epstein files. And we were like, what the hell's this guy doing here? And I'm like, all right, I guess. I mean, once I'm done with this, I'm going to give him a little. I'm just saying, is that wrong? I'm saying if I were next to him, I would trip with a little hammer. And I would hammer him to death. Regardless, shut up.
Whatever. Let's check out a cop video before we go. It's almost 1 a.m. here, but I want to see this one. Cop arrests high school kid driving his sister to school, then lies about it.
How would you feel if your teenage kids were treated like this by a police officer?
Trump's on the list. That's all I can say.
On their way to school.
Out now! I waved you over and pointed to the side of the road. Why would he take off? Why would he take off?
My mom wants to talk to you.
This brother and sister were on their way to school in the morning. They encountered
I hate this, okay? When a cop's standing in traffic, even like his car's parked there and a cop's standing in traffic, and he points you over, like he points some people this way and some people this way, how do you know that he's pulling you over for a seatbelt or cell phone infraction? That's usually what they're doing. Or they're directing traffic because something's going on ahead.
This police officer who appeared to them to be directing traffic.
It's like, see, he's got somebody pulled over. This car's coming forward and he points over this way. They change lanes and just go on about their fucking day, especially a young kid that hasn't been through one of these seatbelt or cell phone checkpoints or whatever they're doing here.
drove in the direction that the officer pointed. What they did not realize was that this officer was actually attempting to pull them over for some asinine traffic violation. This officer, Tackleberry, immediately concludes,
his name's Tackleberry. No wonder he's a fucking cunt. Tackleberry.
That he's now involved in a high-speed pursuit. Since he had directed them into another lane, they now had to pull into this housing development to attempt to turn around to try to get to their high school. But that's where Officer Tackleberry catches up with him, and he immediately yanks the brother out of the car, puts him in handcuffs, and into the back of his...
Throws him up against the car, of course.
...bizarre police truck. Then he angrily and aggressively confronts the crying sister.
Find his backpack, give me his license. It's right there. I asked for you to find his backpack and give me his license. Okay, set your phone there. We're not doing any phone calls during my traffic stop.
Eventually, he realizes he made a mistake, and he ends up sending the kids on their way to school.
I'm sure I'll get a call from your mom, but the nice thing about what I have is a body cam.
Let's go through that body cam. Deputy, you are more than just rude. You're more than just incompetent. You, sir.
God, this is going to piss me off, especially young kids. They know that they can throw the weight around with young kids, and very few of them is going to be like, what the fuck? You're not allowed to do this.
Are a liar.
Like when they drug that girl out of that car at that gas station and beat the fuck out of her.
Have you ever searched yourself on the internet or searched for someone else? I do it all the time to investigate people, both when I'm making videos.
I'll let him read his ad.
And it's insane how much information there is about people online. And why is that? Because unless you've done something to prevent it, your private information is being collected and traded online by shady data brokers who create these shadow profiles on people that include a frightening amount of personal information. That private information is then basically sold to the highest bidder, where it's used by insurance companies, banks, businesses, and of course, the government. So how do you prevent it? I use a product called Incogni that not only tracks down those shady data brokers online, but they also have that data completely removed from the internet. And you don't have to be a lawyer to protect your information from prying eyes. All you have to do is sign up for Incogni, and they do it for you. You check your dashboard from time to time to see the progress, and I've been tracking mine for a couple of years now. As of today, Incogni has located my private information with 715 different data brokers, and to date, they have had that data deleted with 649 of these data brokers, and 66 other demands are still in progress. So check out Incogni using the link below, or go to incogni.com/civil to get an exclusive 60% off. That's incogni.com/civil, and use code CIVIL, or click the link below to take your personal data off the market. Now let's get back to the video. Now, there are obviously a lot...
That's how I had all my OnlyFans foot photos deleted.
Of interesting
Incogni
that come out of the state of Florida. This particular video was obtained by the YouTube channel Florida Cop Cam, and I definitely recommend checking out that channel because they come up with some crazy Florida body cam videos. And
Florida Cop Cam sounds like everything I've ever wanted in a YouTube channel.
this one involves the Broward Sheriff's Office. It was just a normal Broward County morning. These two teenagers were just on their way to school in the morning.
Yeah, it's only dick and butthole pics now. It was a lot of feet stuff, but I figured that was a little out there.
It was sort of stop and go traffic, and I'm not exactly sure what was going on here, but there appears to be some beef that this deputy had with this particular intersection where people were in the right-hand turn lane, but they weren't actually turning. I think maybe that's what he was pulling people over for, but he had, I think, several cars pulled over on the side of the road. And instead of...
Oh, there's the link to it.
Doing it the right way, where he's performing a traffic stop on one individual car, where everyone understands when a police officer pulls up behind you, pulls you over, he's just sort of pointing at cars. And because it's bumper to bumper traffic, I can see how that would have looked like he was just directing traffic. So as this SUV with the brother and sister on their way to school, as they approach this officer, we can see from his body cam footage exactly what he did. He's actually being very vague about this. He just sort of steps into the road, and we can see by his shadow that he points at them, and he does
literally just does this. Just points to the side.
Doesn't hold out his hand like, stop, I'm stopping you, or I'm pulling you over. He just gets their attention and points. And he does point in the direction of the far right lane of traffic. And so we can see as this SUV with the brother and sister, as it passes by, they don't appear to realize that he was intending to pull them over. They just drive into the lane that he was pointing at them.
I watched a whole, probably a 40-minute video on how real Parmesan cheese is made. They let the guy make some and try some and take some, and it was insane.
This gets the deputy super excited. He thinks he's in a pursuit situation now. And so he's going to let everybody else go, and he's going to run back to his ridiculous police cruiser.
You're going to fucking run. Yeah, it looks like he's just directing traffic around his stop or around a different officer's stop.
Which is another thing, because it doesn't even look like a police car. And what is the actual point of this hunter green police car, police truck, that doesn't even look like a police truck? It looks like maybe the trash pickup crew, maybe even driven by inmates. But when you're in bumper-to-bumper traffic, I mean, you're paying attention to the...
That does look like our inmate litter team truck.
In front of you, behind you, etc. Where you're...
The coroner's got one like that too, but it's black.
Going. Yeah, there was a guy in uniform, but he's probably directing inmates, like picking up trash on the side of the road, or he's directing traffic, whatever. Not your typical traffic stop situation. So now he's, in their minds, directed them into the right lane of traffic, which is inconvenient for them because now they've got to turn around somewhere. So they pull into this housing development to turn around. This is a gated community with a security guard, but before they can turn around, the deputy has raced in behind them and pulled them over.
Stop!
He jumps out of his hunter green truck and he aggressively walks towards this brother and sister.
Car park!
And what does he do? Does he ask them for license, registration, proof of insurance? No.
Ask them what they were doing, anything.
SUV.
Out of the car, now! Out now! Out now! Face the car!
He doesn't
shut
name.
God damn, shoving him against the car. I'd be so pissed as a parent.
He doesn't ask him any questions. He's just putting him in handcuffs, roughly.
Call no, we're calling no one right now. What?
And once he gets him in handcuffs, he walks him back to his police car, as if this is all just for show and not because it's necessary for any legitimate reason.
You didn't tell my mom, no? What's going on, sir? I pulled you over and you took off. I waved you over and you took off. You didn't. When the police officer standing in front of you and waved you over, I go on the other side of the road and you took off. I thought you were going to the open lanes. No, not open lanes. I didn't know. I'm pulling you over. I didn't know. I didn't take off.
Nobody would know unless you've been in that situation. The first time I saw him doing this, luckily there was like 5 cops and there was like a bunch of cars pulled over. I didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They were checking seatbelts. They were standing in the middle of traffic checking for the seatbelt. It was right after Tennessee passed the seatbelt law. And if you had a seatbelt on, they pointed you this way, like to the right, their right. And if you didn't, they pointed you to the left and there's like a line of cars you pulled into. But I didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
I didn't know. Why are you coming in here? I was turning around. I had to turn back to get to school. Right. Sir, I didn't know. To the wallet? Yes, it's my backpack. Have a seat. You knew better. You knew exactly what I was doing.
Note that the deputy did not say anything to this kid that he was just being detained or that this was just a traffic stop. He was not asked for his license, registration, insurance. Instead, he was immediately taken out of the vehicle, roughly put in handcuffs, walked back to the truck, and put in the truck. In fact, he was frisked, which if he was just being detained, there would be no justification in this case to frisk the kid. Objectively speaking, just based on what the deputy said and what we see in his body cam footage, so far we have not just a detainment or a traffic stop, but a warrantless arrest.
You have a driver's license for him, ma'am?
No, I don't know where it is. It's here. It's not. I don't know where it is.
Why would he take off? I waved you over and pointed to the side of the road. Why would he take off? Why would he take off?
My mom wants to talk to you.
Sure. Is this his mom?
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am. Deputy Barry Sheriff's Office. How are you? Good. I pulled your son over and he took off on me. Ma'am, it's not real hard when I step right in front of his car and point to the side of the road. You're not listening to me, ma'am. You are not listening to me. You're not. You are. I need his driver's license. Look at the center console.
The mom's pissed, as she should be. She's already been told you just pointed to the side of the road and he's supposed to know that's a fucking traffic stop.
Gee,
that's not how they teach you when you get your license that you're being pulled over, right? They get behind you, they indicate with the lights, and you're supposed to pull over at the first safe spot. Like, what the fuck?
I wonder why he does not have the brother's driver's license. Perhaps it's because he arrested him first without even asking for his driver's license. Instead, after he handcuffed him, he frisked him to see where his wallet was and asked him where.
And then yells at his sister for his license like she fucking knows.
Wallet was. To which the brother replied, "In my backpack."
To the wallet? Yes, it's my backpack. Have a seat.
Yet Tackleberry walks over to traumatize the little sister, who's crying and has their mother on the phone. Then this rude cop, who obviously does not have a Florida or Southern accent, who obviously imported his personality from some northern state, demands the brother's ID from the little sister who's crying.
Making her look through shit. I don't know.
It's Candace's phone. I don't know where it is.
Okay, sit your phone there. We're not doing any phone calls during my traffic stop.
Then stacks up the phone and takes them both. No phone calls during my traffic stop. She's a passenger. She didn't do a goddamn thing. She can call whoever she wants. Do a little fucking dance if she wants to.
It's real simple. A police officer steps in front of your car and points to the side of the road, and you can see there's another car pulled over, correct? Did you see the other car pulled over? Yes.
Yeah, he thought you had a car pulled over and you were directing traffic around it.
And then when I'm pointing to the side of the road for you, I'm not telling you to go into another lane. I am telling you to pull over. You go to North Broward, then you should be happily educated to know that when a police officer is waving you over and stands directly in front of your car and points to the side of the road, and then you start going over, and then you take off. And then you pull into somewhere where you don't belong right here either.
By the way, he didn't take off. Like, I don't even know if he picked up any speed because they needed to stay in that left lane or the center lane to make their turn. That's why they were turning around to go back to school.
Because I need to turn left to turn around, but I missed the exit on Lions.
You missed the exit on Lions. Yes, wonderful. Then the U-turn right there. So, where's your driver's license at?
It's in my wallet in my backpack.
Where's your backpack?
It's in the back.
What you committed was a felony.
What you did was a felony again, just being a fucking dick because he can. There's no way this would stand up in court. Fuck you.
Still, the deputy says nothing about this only being a traffic stop or only being a detainment. This is a warrantless arrest, as evidenced by the fact that the deputy tells the brother, you just committed a felony, and slams the door in his face.
His backpack's in the back of the car. You shouldn't be upset. You didn't do anything wrong. Find his backpack, give me his license. I asked for you to find his backpack and give me his license.
Wow.
You guys go to a very nice school. It's very obvious when a police officer stands in front of your car.
You thought you were telling us
No, I'm not telling you to change lanes. As you can see, there was another car we pulled over.
But how many times have you come up on a traffic stop in traffic or a wreck in traffic or something in that traffic because the lane was backed all the way up to that cop and there is a cop directing traffic?
If I stand directly into your front of your car, and point to the side of the road and start walking to your car as you pass me, that would be an indicator that the police officer is pulling me over.
Sorry.
He's got her crying and apologizing, and she's a goddamn passenger. What are you crying for? You're not in trouble. I told you to give me his wallet. Damn.
See if she's got a license. Do you have your driver's license? Here's the other car. He's doing the same thing. Don't cry. You didn't do nothing wrong.
Oh, now, don't cry. You didn't do nothing wrong. There's the other car. I guess somebody did the exact same fucking thing. Did you hear the sirens on the other car? Someone else did the same thing. Drove away from a cop that was just standing around pointing. Now he feels like a dumbass.
Is this your brother? Yes. You need to have a serious talk with him how to drive.
Then he hops in their car and fucking moves it. What the fuck, dude?
15-year-old daughter. Would it bother?
So many things. I'd be so goddamn pissed if these were my kids.
Rude stranger, grown man, to get into your car with your juvenile teenage daughter and drive anywhere with her without your knowledge, without your consent, without your permission, much less lecture her and make her cry.
How old are you? When I get done with you, you can explain to your mom. Officer stands directly in front of your car and points to the side of the road, and I start walking up to your car. You see you slow down and pulling over in front of that car.
And I start walking up to your car. The guy went around you. How the fuck was he supposed to know you were walking towards his car?
And then you take
fuck
off.
up.
No, you.
Now, okay. Here's the steel man for this argument. Okay, for the cop's argument. The guy, you point to the cop, and like they said, the cop's pointing and it says like pull over. A mouths the word pull over. The kid pulls over, stops for a second. The cop takes a second to come over there, and then he fucking guns it and takes off, right?
You have no common sense then, okay? You have no common sense. A police officer would not stand in front of you and direct you to another lane to drive. It's obvious because the other five
police officers direct traffic all the fucking time, especially when there's like one on a scene or two on a scene and they haven't got enough to like line up their cars or put out barrels or cones or a tow truck or something.
cars that pulled over and did the same thing. They knew what to do. So we're going to call that common sense. My 16-year-old son has a learner's permit, and my daughter would they know exactly what I was doing. Corbin. What's your name? Coben? There you go, Coben.
He's got his license and misread his name. Corbin. Who's Corbin?
Around rural Florida, where...
What's your name?
It's just like here in West Virginia. People are extremely nice. You can go somewhere in real Florida right now, in rural Florida, and just sit in a restaurant and listen to how people treat the waitresses in that restaurant. Do they say please and thank you? Are they pleasant and polite? Or are they bossy and know-it-alls? Are they rude? Do they treat the waitress like garbage? Some of you will know exactly what I'm talking about. This is that kind of person. I know there's lots of fantastic people that move to the state of Florida. They're not like that. But there are a lot who are like that. Just listen to what a complete toll this guy is in every way to every person he has encountered here. And of course, he knows everything, especially because he has a son with a learner's permit. And having also gone through having a son become a new driver, I really despise this guy because they're completely inexperienced. There's a lot to learn. Not everybody is the same. Driving is dangerous enough already, much less dealing with the police stopping you in an unusual way. And it's sad to think we send our kids into that sort of environment only for them to be abused and mistreated like we see happening here. But at the end of the day, these kids actually did a great job here. At all times, they were completely polite and cooperative and probably not even aware of the fact that there was a body cam running the entire time. They made fantastic witnesses for themselves. Kids will make mistakes, such as not recognizing that he initially wanted them to pull over, but you really can't ask for much better behavior during a very stressful situation than these kids displayed here.
Now that I've properly identified you, I can take the handcuffs off. I detained you because you had no driver's license on you. Do you understand?
Wait, what? Now that I've properly identified you, I can take your handcuffs off? Like you said, fortunately for you, you have a body camera. So let's look back at that body camera footage to see if you're telling the truth right now, or if you realize that you screwed up and you're attempting to gaslight a teenager whom you just falsely arrested. The truth is, he arrested the kid before ever asking for identification.
Car park! Out of the car, now! Out, now!
And watch him throw him up against the car.
Call no, we're calling no one right now. What? Didn't tell my mom, no? What's going on, sir?
The kid was already in handcuffs and being shoved into the police truck before even asking him where his wallet was.
The wallet? Yes, it's in my backpack. Have a seat.
Fuck this guy, dude.
That this ID detainment is a complete lie. He wasn't just detained, he was arrested. It had nothing to do with him not having ID or failing to produce ID when asked. He was never asked. He did have ID. It was in his backpack, but the arrest had already taken place.
Failure to produce ID. Sure.
Then Tackleberry cooks up this lie about, well, you were only being detained for your safety because you were unable to produce ID. Deputy, you are more than just rude. You're more than just incompetent. You, sir, are a liar.
You're going to have a seat in your car. And we'll write your citation. It's in the road. This will be a lesson learned for you, Tobin. Arm back. Look at me.
No, it's a good lesson.
Come on. I'll see your car. You're going to do the ticket. Okay, Tobin. Here's your phone back. Here's your license back. Next time a police officer stands directly in front of your car, and points to the side of the road in front of the car that is already pulled over, you should pull over. Not slow down and go to the right and then take off. You understand? Okay.
He keeps saying take off like they fucking gunned it, spinning tires and shit. And the cop was like, hey, stop. They just changed lanes.
Guide for going to the right. The lane you're in is a right turn only. You can't drive up to those poles and stop and then cut in because you disrupt traffic. If you're in the right turn lane, then you got to make the right turn. You understand? Okay, put your seatbelt back on, go to school. Let this be a learning experience. I'm sure I'll get a call from your mom, but the nice thing about what I have is a body camera. It shows you slowly pulling over and then going. I don't know what your thought process was, but it wasn't good. All right, good luck to you.
He's sure that he'll get a call from the kid's mom because he knows that he was wrong here. He immediately
fucked up. Yeah.
When he came to his senses, he attempted to undo that arrest and play it off as a traffic stop, play it off as just a detainment due to ID. That was all a lie. While only reasonable suspicion of some traffic offense would justify a traffic stop, a warrantless arrest requires probable cause, a much higher standard. He opted to arrest this kid before conducting any investigation whatsoever. But it really shouldn't take constitutional explanations for anyone to see the major problems that occurred here. And that is that this guy is a bully, needlessly escalating, needlessly infringing on Fourth Amendment rights. And he's completely unprofessional on top of it. Also, as I explained, he's a liar. I can only imagine what else this guy has done. In fact, I saw on the comments on the original video, other people complaining about being pulled over by this guy. If you know of more, please send them my way. I wish I knew what happened with the citation. Maybe I will learn. Maybe they'll reach out to me after this video is out. If you want to follow along, you can subscribe both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. You can follow me on X at John Bryan ESQ. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.
There you go, chat. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be a little more better prepared with stories for the night. Hopefully the power doesn't go out tomorrow. Let's say the storm's passed, so I'm going to head home and get some sleep. Yeah, working at the campground during the day. I'll probably make some TikTok videos. I'm thinking about doing, now that I got my disability squared away, and that's basically like the safety net that we have in place to afford everything. I'm thinking about doing some more and different and varied content. I got to get back to Patreon. I'm thinking about doing some more TikTok stuff and some other things possibly. I really, really, really want a channel or a stream or a TikTok channel or something where I can work on things again and make videos like that. But we'll see. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. See you. Bye.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, You don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet.
That's right.
And tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world.
You can see my OnlyFans content at lemonparty.org. Lemonparty.org.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat.
Good to see you guys tonight. Hope y'all have a good night.
He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets.
Have a good night, guys.